We're still in section 2, and this is where I left off for a tax payment. The property ownership provides by the payment of property tax was a common service collocation back then. Paul tax was a special tax payment for a decade. Payment of tax soon disappeared. Paul tax was found throughout the South. This began in Florida in 1889. Two southern states used these Paul tax to discourage African Americans from voting.
And where did you, just out of curiosity, where did you get that little picture of that poll tax there? Did you just Google that? Or?
And it popped out. There's more examples of poll tax, how they looked back then.
Back then, $1 was America.
Tax payment. 1966, poll tax was still being used in Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, and Virginia. The 24th Amendment approved in 1964 to outlaw the poll tax or any other tax as a condition for voting in federal election. 1966, poll tax was eliminated. Virginia poll tax was in conflict with the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. The court didn't find a reasonable relationship between the act of voting and the payment of a tax. Persons denying the vote. Democratic government only exists where the right to vote is widely held. Some states still deny the right to vote for some people. All 50 states don't allow any person with a mental institution or has been found with mental incompetence to vote. 4 of the states still prohibit anyone who commits a serious crime from ever gaining or regaining the right to vote. Only few of the states don't allow any person dishonorable discharged from the armed force to cast a vote.
So I'm just out of curiosity, and maybe just to stimulate this discussion here, both on the part of you guys presenting as well as the rest of the class, what are your thoughts about the states denying certain, I know it's different for every state, but what are your thoughts about denying certain segments of the population access to the vote based off of these things here? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good thing because then anybody are like, oh, we can commit a crime and then get out of jail, we can still vote, who cares?
So your understanding of the vote is that it's a privilege and it can be taken away.
Yeah.
Sort of as a way, if you really care about your vote, you won't do anything really stupid to get that privilege taken away. So now you take care of it, so then you won't do crime. And I feel like it's a good thing, because some people, well, especially if they have if they're not good from their mind, if they can't really think well, then they shouldn't really be voting.
Are you talking about the mental?
Yeah.
Who do you think should make, just out of curiosity, who should make that determination whether or not someone is mentally capable of casting that vote? Who should be entrusted with that?
That's a good question because
That's a good question because remember that video that we're watching and they were saying that they were sick and a few years ago.
Would you guys have allowed Albert Einstein to have voted? I mean, he was a little bit wrong in the head, but he did come out with a lot of great theories that helped us in our technology. So,
But like Van Gogh, isn't he the one that cried his girl? But yeah, he came up with something like.
So who would you guys trust to make that determination whether or not someone is quote unquote eligible mentally to vote? Who would you
I wouldn't
trust?
trust
they
anybody.
can pass a literacy test.
Someone that has more knowledge.
He wants to administer a literacy test. How do you guys feel about the administration of a literacy
Just someone that
test?
has more knowledge.
Yeah, if they could just read simple words, then there should be no reason for them not to have any chance of giving off their vote to give a person a chance to win an election.
What about someone who has severe bipolar disorder? Should they be prevented from voting?
Is their bipolar in any way affecting the way that they're going to think?
What about someone who has severe schizophrenia?
Maybe.
Maybe people talk to you in your head, but they're not real.
Okay, what about someone who has an IQ that's under 70?
They should be able
What's
to.
an idea?
Everybody's equal.
What about Forrest Gump?
What's that? Sorry,
Charlie Gordon.
just because
Charlie
Gordon
Gordon.
can't go
I've never seen that movie.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
Serge, I didn't mean to take your, I know you said initially you're okay with that, but I wanted to get down to the nuts and bolts. How do you
Like,
determine who is quote unquote mentally incompetent and who gets to make that assertion that an individual is mentally incompetent?
I wouldn't trust anyone.
I think that like if they have like the doctor's note or whatever, like you know how doctors can like determine that somebody's like mentally unstable. Like
So would it have to be a psychiatrist or a
yeah, a person
psychologist?
that has a certificate
Psychiatry.
from the state or something to practice that.
But what if
That would be
they're
me.
Democratic and then the person that they're helping is a Republican?
Yeah.
So then they're like,
Don't,
Oh, you
don't
can't
tell.
vote.
What if like the doctors are being paid
Where's
to
both?
say who is mentally ill or not?
Well, what if?
No, like I wouldn't trust anyone.
There's all these extremes.
I wouldn't be trusted.
Carry on.
So let me ask you one other follow-up question, because this always stimulates some interesting discussion. What would you classify as a, would you say that a misdemeanor is eligible for being disqualified to vote? Would you say that a felony is necessary to be disqualified to vote? And what type of a crime would you say rises to the level of disqualifying someone to participate in the vote?
Treason.
Like I would accept a felony because in a way, if they can't choose to follow the laws and they're gonna be breaking them, they shouldn't be allowed to vote for those that are gonna be making the laws. So they're not
I don't know, because then when alcohol was
He doesn't know,
banned,
he
then it was
doesn't
breaking the law.
Is
But then later on, it was okay.
Mr. Is a felony
So what-
anything that you get like?
Felony is the higher level of criminal. So give me some examples of crimes that you think would disqualify someone in your
Murder.
book, in your mind, from being able to vote. Give me
Murder,
some. Murder?
Rape.
rape,
Rape?
treason.
Stealing? Stealing?
Aww.
I don't know about that.
I stole before.
What if I
Terrorism?
Terrorism?
Well, it
yeah.
depends what your state defines as a felony, doesn't it?
Yeah, every state has a different definition.
I felt really bad after. Just throwing
Okay.
vocabulary.
Oh, and this is the end of section 2.